let's start with the obvious then, I guess. So, I mean, tell me maybe what got you into Dust to begin with, and maybe tell me what was the kind of first interesting bit that really hooked you. What was the sizzle that got you?
Well, my buddy worked at a convenience store in town during, I guess it was closed beta, kept bothering me and bothering me. He's like, man, you gotta buy a $20 PSN card or whatever it was for the mercenary pack. And he's like, come on, you gotta play with us. So I was like, I don't know about that. I never heard anything about the game at that point. And then he's like, I guess it was a week before open beta, I guess. Yeah, a week before Chromosome. And he comes up to me, he's like, hey man, it's going to be a open beta soon and be free to play, and you want to play with us then? I was like, yeah, sure. So I downloaded it the first day of open beta, and I came on, I played with him and a few other of his buddies, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty fun. And I think he really got me hooked into the game as just being a good friend and having a mutual game we could enjoy together.
So maybe what was your impression of Chromosome? Because that's really interesting. A lot of the candidates that I guess I've done a study on, just that kind of initial study, haven't played as long as you have. So maybe what was your original thoughts of Chromosome, and maybe compared to today?
Oh, geez, I love Chromosome. I kind of wish it went back to it. In a small way, I wish we could go back to it. I mean, obviously, I love the all the additions they made to the game, but it just had a different feel to it. Except for the what was it? A 5-minute load time for market restocking. I don't want that back.
It was weird because it's funny. I was looking at some Chromosome footage a few days ago, and the game was obviously a lot more simpler. But the thing that got me was how faster it seemed. Now I'm a kind of video nerd, so to me, I kind of noticed things like frames per second, and I think the frames per second on Chromosome was well over 24. Whereas I think, and it's just an opinion, I don't know if it's true, but I feel that the current build is just around 24 or even less. That's why sometimes it does feel as if it's very difficult to aim and follow what's going on. It lags quite a bit.
No, I agree. They also had it was a lower texture resolution as well, though. I think that really contributed to the lessening of frames per second.
It's funny because when I look back at that footage, one of the things that strikes me is how open the maps were. I don't know if you remember was it Manus Peak? It may not be Manus Peak, but it felt like Manus Peak with those kind of slightly angled rocks. And
Yep,
everything was
it was
huge.
definitely Manus Peak.
It was huge, wasn't it? We had like this huge city in the distance that you could actually go and fight around, and it was obviously not meant to be like that. But I just remember the maps being just massive.
Yeah, it feels like they scaled it back a bit.
Oh,
Yeah, I miss that. I don't miss
surprising.
the snipers and the dropship ceiling.
Yeah, I remember sniping way back then, and it was difficult to do. I must admit, because
There,
you'll probably remember this. You'll help me with my knowledge here, because I remember the charged sniper rifle back in Chromosome actually fired a projectile that dropped with gravity. So you'd fire it, and you'd have to kind of angle above to get that killer shot down. Am I wrong? Did I remember that wrong?
I think you're remembering that wrong. I don't remember that at all.
I have a vague recollection of something like that, but it was good. Anyway, so all right, good stuff. So I mean, maybe let's talk about the game as it is at the moment. Then, what's currently going on in Dust that maybe is good, and maybe let's do one thing that's good and maybe one thing that's bad.
Good. Hotfix Charlie.
Yeah, it looks good, doesn't it?
I mean, discussion talking about it. Maybe not the Amar losing the sidearm for the Logi, but in general, good. Especially with the communication from Ratati. Bad. No known title updates.
No, no, what?
Updates, big ones.
Oh, the big ones. Well, this is it.
Yeah.
This is my frustration I have with the game. I mean, I love the game, but I think I'm kind of getting a bit uncertain what CCP plan to do with this. Now, I think this probably, I mean, again, I kind of believe that everything, it has a reason it happens. So to me, I think the reason that they're not really saying that much is because they don't have a CPM in currently, and I think that's who they're going to, so when the CPM gets in, that will be the group that they go to and maybe start to talk about, what really are they going to do with the game on that point. But an interesting one about the Logi then, because I read the Logi changes potentially could be just making them more generic. I mean that, and the assault suit buff as well. I mean, I quite like that because it feels for a while there's been no real need to have an assault suit at all. What do you think about that?
Uh, I don't know about other racial assault suits, but I currently, as it stands, enjoy my Minotaur assault. The
Right.
sidearm and light weapon bonus to ammo in the magazine.
That's a good one.
Yeah, especially with the assault combat rifle, you just eat through it so fast.
Yeah, they've got these suits, these kind of things in the game that they kind of buff other things and then they get completely forgotten. I mean, I've always said it in the videos I do. I've said it for a long time now. Is it's very difficult to balance this game entirely. So I just don't know what more could they do. Would it be more changes in a lower impact, or what do you think? What could be the ideal solution there?
Well, I don't claim to have the ideal solution, but I think what they're doing, like what Tatty's doing, is, I mean, it's better than the hammer and fist that they used to do.
Definitely, definitely.
And even if it takes a month to do one hot fix like this, I mean, it's better that they're communicating with it and doing it slowly and working it through. I mean, it makes a much more enjoyable experience than using a gun one patch and then the next patch it's completely broken.
Definitely. Okay, no, that's cool. Okay, so let's talk about maybe some other things to do with the game in general. I mean, one of the things that I'm quite keen to learn maybe more about from CCP, and I think this will obviously be through the CPM, is kind of the future of Legion and Dust and all that kind of mix together of those things. I mean, what's your thoughts maybe on how Dust should migrate across to Legion, or should it?
Yeah, I'd rather get a personal opinion, or not personal, a general opinion from what the community would rather want. I have my own opinions and views on things, but I mean that's not what I'm running.
Maybe as kind of a question is what would be, I guess, the right way to do this? Would it be to end Dust and then have like an immediate start on Legion, or would it be to maybe dual run both games? What would you feel makes best sense?
Definitely the dual run, because I mean a lot of players won't have a PC and will still want to continue with Dust,
Yeah.
and once Legion is out and they get to see videos, they might be inspired to build a PC, and they still want to accumulate their SP and ISK and whatnot while they're doing that.
So there'll be some form of migration period between sort of the two games. I mean, it's one of the things, and I'd like your opinion on this, because one of the things we've been sort of kicking about at the moment is, why are they maybe looking to end Dust? Because when you think about it, those PS3s, 90 million PS3s around the world, aren't going anywhere. So, would it not be in CCP's interest to maybe make a kind of cheaper or scale back the cost of Dust and just make it a service that's just constantly on?
Yeah, no, I'm all for that. I just don't think it's right to cut off players who've been playing the game for so long just so quickly. Well, even if it's announced like 3-4 months ahead, I mean, I still don't think it's right.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things I'm kind of maybe slightly concerned and disappointed about with CCP at the moment is there is just very little comms to do with the commercials of Dust. All the time that you and I have been playing, which is pretty much the whole length of the game, they've never really advertised the game, and they've never really looked to seriously market it and seriously push it. It always feels like they've kind of taken a very cautious approach throughout with this. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, do you think that's a fair statement, or would you challenge that?
No, I think that's completely fair. Other than who was it, Gunnarsson having it plastered on his ass?
Seriously, that oh, seriously.
There wasn't too much advertising other than that. I think maybe a banner ad or two on a website. That was about it.
It's been poor, and I think that to me is something I really would look for the CPM to intervene with. And again, I don't know really how much voice the CPM has, but what I do kind of know is that they are listened to, even if they maybe don't get the immediate and kind of total response in a two-way conversation. They do get listened to.
It might help if they have almost a policing inside of the CPM from the other members. Hey, read over this before I post it.
That's a really good point, and I think that's exactly the point that that's it. When you look at kind of what the issues have been, it's because there's been a little bit of an antagonism there So you're right. If there's some form of self-moderation, that might be a good one.
My big thing is, I know Aeon's for this too, is pushing for the ISD. The ISD, also known as the Interstellar Service Department, I think it is a volunteer community-based group that help out in different areas such as forum moderation or what I really want to get CCP to start is another STAR program, which it helps new players in the game and vets in the game if they have questions, and it welcomes people to the game. I think that'd be a big help for NPE, and if we could get that system and transfer that over to Legion if they greenlit it and they get it out, I mean, it's a huge step forward.
Okay, great stuff. So, any final statements?
Yeah, really read into the other candidates, do your vote matches, and if you feel that I am the right representative for you, please vote MOSSELLIA DELT. And if any of you dusters are single ladies, I am currently a bachelor.
That was shameless, but I respect you. All right, awesome, fantastic. So there we go. That was MOSSELLIA DELT. If you want to vote for MOSSELLIA, go to the Dust, I think it's the Dust webpage, homepage, and on there you'll see a link for the CPM elections, and in there there are instructions how to vote, and please consider voting. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.